Welcome to this week's reflection from Holy Saviour Church, and thank you for joining me. One of the many things I really love about my role of parish priest is carrying out what we call occasional offices. That's to say, services which are outside of Sundays and the regular weekday services. And in particular, one of the services I find really meaningful and poignant is the sacrament of baptism. And whether it's a little child who's perhaps just weeks or months old, or whether it's a person who's very, very mature in years, there's something wonderful about formally and ceremonially welcoming a person into the family of faith. One of the moments in the baptism service that I always find quite meaningful is the giving of a lit baptism candle, either to the child if they're old enough, or if not, to a parent or godparent. And it symbolises that as baptised Christians we are to go out into this world and to shine as lights in the darkness. And that symbol of light shining in the darkness is one that recurs a great deal throughout the Christian Gospels. It's an image that's picked up this coming Sunday in the Gospel passage from Matthew chapter 5, when Jesus says to his disciples, he says, "You are the light of the world." And he goes on to say, "Do not hide your light under a bushel basket, but rather put it up on a lampstand where it can light the whole house." I think one of the problems with our wanting to do good and to shine as light in the world, a lot of the time it's not that we end up doing terrible wrong to each other, although of course we are capable of that. It's just the good that we don't do, that we fail to do for whatever reason. The famous Soviet dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn told a really interesting story from his time when he was a captain in the Soviet army. And he said he remembered this incident with great shame. And he described it thus. He said, "One day I saw a sergeant of the secret police on horseback using a whip on a Russian soldier who had been captured serving in a German unit. The man, naked from the waist up, was staggering under the blows, his body covered in blood. Suddenly he saw me and cried out, 'Mr. Captain, save me.'" Solzhenitsyn goes on to say, "Any officer in any army in all the world should have put a stop to this needless torture. But I was a coward. I said nothing and I did nothing. And this has remained in my mind ever since." I think one of the most important things about our humanity is that every single one of us has the capacity to do good. All of us can be a source of light. All of us have hands that can care, eyes that can see, ears that can hear, tongues that can speak truth and justice and goodness. And most of all, we all have hearts that are capable of loving others. And unfortunately, maybe it's through complacency, perhaps it's through laziness, perhaps it's through some kind of selfishness or even cowardice, somehow that light can be dimmed over time, so that we become sort of shadows of the people that we really could be, that we were really made to be. maybe our prayer this day might be that God may help us to believe in our own goodness, so that our light of goodness can shine, and that on seeing that light, others may indeed find their way. The American poet and philosopher Henry Thoreau sums it up rather well when he says this. He said, "Be not simply good, be good for something." Our hymn for today is "In Our Darkness, Light Has Shone."